Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, titled Devahuti's Lamentation. Text number 1. Maitreya Uvacha Pitrabhyam Prasthite Sadvi Patim Ingita Kovida Nityam Paryacharat Pritya Bhavaniva Bhavam Prabhum. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Maitreya continued, after the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri. The specific example of Bhavani is very significant. Bhavani means the wife of Bhava or Lord Shiva. Bhavani or Parvati, the daughter of the king of the Himalayas, selected Lord Shiva, who appears to be just like a beggar, as her husband. In spite of her being a princess, she undertook all kinds of tribulations to associate with Lord Shiva, who did not even have a house but was sitting underneath the trees and passing his time in meditation. Although Bhavani was the daughter of a very great king, she used to serve Lord Shiva just like a poor woman. Similarly, Devahuti was the daughter of an emperor, Swayambhuva Manu, yet she preferred to accept Kardama Muni as her husband. She served him with great love and affection, and she knew how to please him. Therefore, she is designated here as Sadhvi, which means a chaste, faithful wife. Her rare example is the ideal of Vedic civilization. Every woman is expected to be as good and chaste as Devahuti or Bhavani. Today in Hindu society, unmarried girls are still taught to worship Lord Shiva with the idea that they may get husbands like him. Lord Shiva is the ideal husband, not in the sense of riches or sense gratification, but because he is the greatest of all devotees. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhuhu. Shambhu or Lord Shiva is the ideal Vaishnava. He constantly meditates upon Lord Rama and chants Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Shiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya which is called the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Unmarried girls worship Lord Shiva so that they can expect a husband who is as good a Vaishnava as he. The girls are not taught to select a husband who is very rich or very opulent for material sense gratification. Rather, if a girl is fortunate enough to get a husband as good as Lord Shiva in devotional service, then her life becomes perfect. The wife is dependent on the husband, and if the husband is a Vaishnava, then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of a householder's life. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
So after Swayambhuva Manu, handed over Devahuti to Kardama Muni in marriage, Devahuti served, understood the husband's desires, and served him constantly with love, in a manner in which Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. So how Bhavani serves Lord Shiva is elaborated by Srila Prabhupada, that even though she was the daughter of a great king, but she had to take a life of a poor woman if she had to serve Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva undertook all kinds of austerities, and Shiva's life was not a life of sense gratification, but always a life of austerities, always thinking of the Supreme Lord and constantly meditating upon Lord Rama. So this is the position of Lord Shiva, who is a great Vaishnava. And Bhavani or Parvati got an opportunity to serve Lord Shiva, who is a great Vaishnava. This relationship between Lord Shiva and Bhavani, which is being compared here to the relationship between Kardama Muni and Devahuti, is a relationship, a typical relationship of a Vaishnava guru and a disciple. She was chaste and faithful wife. There are principles of what and how, in which spirit one has to serve a spiritual master, that can be learnt from the life of Lord Shiva and Bhavani. When nobody is like Bhavani, nobody has characteristics of that. This is Kali Yuga. One should not think that these are all there for us to, at least in Kali Yuga, for us to, oh, now let's see, oh, now this is the instruction. Okay. Now between husband and wife, this is the way it should be. So, okay, all right. Let's now struggle hard for this. It will not work. And Prabhupada also knew it will not work. So Prabhupada, of course, Prabhupada said he wanted to create ideal Varnashrama, no? Varnashrama. In ideal Varnashrama, there will be ideal husband, wife, all those things will be there. But again, he also said that, those, if at all in Kali Yuga, if you want to set up an ideal kind of Varnashrama, first the person, the members of that Varnashrama community should become Pakka Vaishnavas. When they become Pakka Vaishnavas, all these qualities will come. There's no need for separately endeavoring. Servitude will come. Humility will come. Pridelessness will come. All these things will manifest in a Vaishnava. Why does it manifest in a Vaishnava? How does it manifest in a Vaishnava? These qualities manifest in a Vaishnava. One is here the root is through culture. Here is a root is through culture. In these cases, through our Vedic culture, these qualities are developed. Now Vaishnavas, how they suddenly get all these qualities when they have not gone through this culture? The reason for that is because of transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge, when it shines upon a devotee, then all the good qualities of a Vaishnava manifest. That is a reason. That is a reason. For instance, humility. When one understands that he is not this body, humility, the highest humility is compared to the blade of grass, humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, humbler than a blade of grass. The blade of grass is stamped by everybody and it does not complain. Why a blade of grass does not complain? Similarly, why a Vaishnava does not complain? Because he does not expect anything for himself, for his body. As long as you have desires for sense gratification, you cannot be humble. Because if somebody disturbs your desire for sense gratification, your lack of humility will immediately show up. Anger will come. So who can be always humble? One who is free from all sense gratification can be always humble. Who can be always be free from sense gratification? One who has understood, I am not this body, I am servant of Krishna. One who has realized, one who has gone out of the bodily concept, one who has got the transcendental knowledge that I am not this body, I am servant of Krishna. Then where is the question of sense gratification? Because I am not the body, so whom am I satisfying? So just see how from transcendental knowledge, the principle for humility, automatically it comes up. When you're not the body, then you have no desire, you have no expectations. Not even expectations of name, fame, all these kind of things. There are two kinds of bodily concept. One is I am the body, then everybody else is the body. I, who am this body, is a member of this world, this society. Then you have got social ego. Your bodily concept has got a social ego. So that social ego has needs. What are those needs? Name, fame, recognition. These are the needs of the social ego. So if somebody disrespects, then immediately you will get upset because you are expecting respect from the society. If you think you the person are not part of this society, one who comes out of the bodily concept, one who comes out of everybody else's bodily concept, sees everybody as a spirit soul, as entrapped in the bodily concept, that this world is a lie. A lying relationship, world of lying relationships. Body is real, but bodily concept is an illusion. Bodies are not false. This is energy, Maya's energy, giving us a body so that we identify ourselves with this body. So, we have this. One cannot be humble as long as he is expecting something from the society. If the society does not give him the right kind of respect, then his humility will be exposed. So to become humble, one has to awaken one's transcendental knowledge. And that awakening of the transcendental knowledge, the direct process is given of direct devotion service to the Lord. That opportunity is given to us in this Kali Yuga by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. By directly associating with the holy name, directly associating with the deities, pure devotees of the Lord like Srila Prabhupada, this transcendental sound vibration. By hearing Srila Prabhupada, hearing from the lips of a pure devotee, one gets transcendental knowledge. So there are two ways. One is through the Varnashrama, Devi Varnashrama system, the gradual process of supporting a culture, which brings about all these qualities. Now we are not deprived of those things just because we are in Kali Yuga. That is the reason why it is said that whatever one can achieve in all other yugas by various other processes, in Kali Yuga, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can achieve all those results. The most uncultured person can become most cultured when transcendental knowledge awakens in him. The most puffed up person will become most humble when transcendental knowledge awakens in him. The most intolerant person will become most tolerant person when transcendental knowledge awakens. This is exemplified by Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Muslim family. He was a Muslim, that means his culture was Muslim, but he took to the chanting of the holy name. And what were his qualities of humility and tolerance? He was publicly beaten in so many marketplaces. He did not protest. He did not protest. He was only praying for those people who were beating him. Look at the quality that develops when one is awakened as a servant of Krishna. And I am not this body. So at the root cause is everywhere, if you see that if you don't come out of this bodily concept of life by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then none of the good qualities can be developed. The body and the mind will continues to, body, mind, false ego will continues to harass us, continues to disturb our devotion service. So while we have this direct process of, spiritual elevation, ultimately these things are wonderful relationship of between living entities, between Lord Shiva and Bhavani, between Kardama Muni and Devahuti. One has to know all these sensitive things by hearing these things. Because ultimately in the spiritual world, there is a transcendental culture. Why? What is the benefit of awakening all these good qualities by transcendental knowledge? What is the benefit? So that when you go into the spiritual world, then you can live like a spiritual citizen. Unless you have these qualities, you cannot. Unless you have the qualities of loyalty, unless you have the quality of humility, unless you have the quality of being servant, you cannot be in the spiritual world. So ultimately this transcendental knowledge is of great use to us to live life like Bhavani and Lord Shiva and all this. The material world is also a sample, a very highly cultured life of Lord Shiva and Bhavani, very elevated level of life. It cannot be anywhere. There is no comparison in the modern world. But at the same time, we have to hear, we have to understand such beautiful relationship between jivas exist. And they exist in the spiritual world also, of being the servant of the servant. In the spiritual world, there is relationship between every living entity. That relationship is of servant of the servant. In the material world, the relationship is, even if it is servant, if you see in the material world, there is no spiritual awakening. Due to social reasons, somebody may be a fairer sex will say that I am, serving somebody else. Woman may say I am serving husband because of the marriage, culture and all these things. But ultimately you see, it will be for something else. It will be a transactional kind of everybody is in a lauding mood. Women are also in lauding mood, men are also in lauding mood. In this Kali Yuga. Because everything is uncultured. In a cultured life, then women are really women. Men are really men. Means men are with manly qualities, proper man's qualities. Women are like, women have all the women's qualities. And the relationship will be, similarly, relationship will be pleasant, which will become a sample of, a reflection or a sample of what kind of nice conjugal relationship one can have in Vaikuntha, with Narayana as the center. Or one can appreciate the different relationship between Krishna and the queens of Dwaraka. Or one can appreciate, by hearing these things, one can appreciate the loyalty, chastity, and dedicatedness of the gopis. How do we understand all these things? After a few years, if you see in the real world, you don't find any of these things. Even now, you go to the Western world, you don't find any of these sensibilities there. Between husband and wife, none of these things don't exist. Men act like women, women act like men, and men act like women. All ulta. So it doesn't exist. Now it exists mostly in India also. It's like this. It exists for us to hear, fortunately. And hearing is very powerful. As far as Vaishnava is concerned, he doesn't have to go through the Grahastha life to understand all the sensitivities. When he chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then his intelligence becomes first class intelligence. His first class intelligence, he may have never associated with woman, never married, he may be Naishtika Brahmachari. But he will know all the sensitivities of a conjugal relationship by hearing these things. He will know. It's not strange for him. It's not that if you're a brahmachari, then you have nothing to do with these things. No. These are all eternal aspects of the soul. Soul has to know what is love between man and woman. Even they have to know. So Paramahamsa knows. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing. He's a great Paramahamsa, in the great sannyasi, in the eyes of the world. He's a sannyasi. And then he was chanting and glorifying the love of the gopis. But not in public. So how a sannyasi is thinking about the gopis? Because the ultimate goal is that. So one does not have to, it is not necessary that one has to go through all this if he has developed first class intelligence. And first class intelligence will develop. First class intelligence means sattvic. And Sattva will come if one hears Hare Krishna, chants and hears Hare Krishna, gradually his consciousness will become sattvic. And first class intelligence will come. Just by hearing this, he understands the knowledge, the intricacies of the rasas and everything he understands. Not only understands, he can feel that. Hearing is equal to seeing. Just like hearing Hare Krishna is equal to direct contact with Krishna. Similarly, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing these descriptions, is equal to realization. That is potential. The potential of that is there. Then one tastes Bhagavatam, verse after verse, he tastes every transcendental meaning in it, and every anything of this world which is described here, what is its relevance to the spiritual existence, everything becomes very apparent to a person who situates himself in transcendental platform by the mercy of the spiritual master who has given the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So it is Vaishnavas relish every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vaishnavas relish every Leela that is described here. They relish everything because they see the relevance of it to spiritual existence. Ultimately, spiritual existence, everything exists for the pleasure of Krishna. Krishna has created this material world, he's brought forth this material world. Things are designed in this material world in such a way that the living entities can evolve. The potentially they are Krishna conscious. Every living entity has got original nature, just like water's liquidity, fire has got heat. Same way the soul's constitutional means what it is made up of. The constitutional nature is to be Krishna conscious, is to love Krishna. But that's like in a bud form, it has to awaken. Yes. But going through this material world, going through this material journey, gradually the living entity evolves by hearing all these things, he understands. Then he comes into a personal life of variegatedness in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha Loka. That is why this material, human life is very, very rare. And in human life, among human life itself is very rare. On your tongue there are more germs than all the human population. That means compared to the number of atmas on this material world, how many atmas are human beings? And in that bahunam janmanamante, out of many such human births, only one can understand Krishna. So this material world is churning out. It's not a mass production thing. Few Vaishnavas, of course there are many Brahmandas. If in one cycle, one Brahmanda, few pure devotees are created by pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada. They come here to create pure devotees. They take them back to Godhead. If you don't become personal, if you don't become confidential servant of your spiritual master, then you won't go to, he will not take you to Goloka Vrindavan. You have to become, because you have to be confident, you have to surrender to him fully. Just like Bhavani surrendered to Lord Shiva. That kind of complete Atma Nivedan, surrender should be there to the spiritual master. Because he will reveal the confidential, his confidential Krishna, he will reveal. Krishna has various manifestations, from all pervading Vasudeva to Narayana, so many aspects. So be Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada is saying, Prabhupada is meaning, come to me, surrender to me, be loyal to me, I will teach you how to serve my Krishna. And who is his Krishna? His Krishna is his Acharya's Krishna. Who is his Krishna? The Goswami's Krishna. Who's Krishna? Goswami's Krishna, Lord Chaitanya's Krishna. Lord Chaitanya's Krishna is Goloka Krishna. None else. But if you don't become a confidential, completely Prabhupada man, if you don't become, you can enter there. So many gifts will be given. You can go to Vaikuntha Loka also. So many gifts will be given. You can become demigod also here. So it's not we have to understand what Prabhupada is expecting from us. And immediately the Lord responds. When the devotee becomes a servant of the servant, like Srila Prabhupada, pure devotee servant, completely dedicated, sold over to Srila Prabhupada, then you will see wonderful things happening. Then we become, such a person becomes again a confidential devotee of the Lord. That means he gets an opportunity to get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who will reveal. It's not transcendental knowledge, it's not something which is so easily available. Simple things, but you don't get it. Any questions? जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.